Good morning. Good morning. Okay, let me go live on Instagram too. Woohoo! Good morning from Galaxy. Good morning, Sebastian from Facebook. So I'm going to give you a second or two to go and grab your coffee, get your toast ready, do whatever you need to do. And now I'm live on Instagram too. Forgot to do that on Friday. All these things. Got Instagram there, and I got somebody over there, and so. How was your weekend? Hope everybody was relaxing and doing something fun for themselves. I was actually planning a ton of show notes and been getting creative, so I find it really hard to just relax. I think I should be doing something. So it says, hold on, we're telling more followers to join your life. Oh, that's cool, isn't it? Instagram just gave me notice. Mark Sullivan, good morning from YouTube. All right, well, this is Morning Mindset. LinkedIn user, I'm sorry I can't say hello to your name. My coffee is number 3 already. That sounds like high-tech weather. Parker Arigas, no coffee for me, smoothie only, please. I really would like to go and get my coffee right now. But then I go to the gym and I run around like crazy, so I have to have it after the gym. All right, cool. So if you're all set, this is MindFit Mornings, and today we are overcoming barriers. Yes, it is me, Santosh, third coffee. See, I knew it was me, Santosh. Good morning, good morning. And today we're going to just be discussing overcoming barriers and defying patterns. Now, we can all find ourselves in patterns of behaviors that don't serve us, but we keep going back to them because they're comfortable and familiar. But emotional patterns, they're those, so before I go there, they're those habitual reactions to past events that are brought into the present by our automatic behaviors and reactions to things, and often self-destructive behavior. And those patterns prevent us from fully experiencing the present moment and responding to it in a more flexible way instead. So when we react habitually in ways that are no longer helpful or appropriate, they don't do anything for us. And we keep expecting different results. And it was Einstein who said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And yet that's exactly what we do in our personal lives, don't we? So if we can become aware of that, aware of all those behavioral patterns and learn to observe them without judgment, we begin to understand why we react the way we do. And we can also start to see how those patterns might be affecting our current situation. And with this understanding, we can then start to make choices about how we want to respond and to stop reacting automatically instead. That said, it's harder if you don't deal with the underlying triggers. Like for me, if a spider dropped on me now, I wouldn't be able to sit there very calmly and go, "Whoo, there's a spider on my lap," and be like, and run around like a banshee. So it all depends on what it is, and you have to do the work to overcome that too. And it's the same for defying patterns, because that means defying patterns means not letting the past dictate the present or the future. And it means being brave and stepping out into the unknown, even if it's scary, like me going, "Oh, look, there's a spider." That would be a brave thing for me to do. And it means having faith and that things will work out even when you can't see how they will. So when we defy patterns, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. I'll never be friends with a spider, no matter how many times I watch that. Was it the pig movie? Right? No, whatever that movie was called, with pig in it. Babe. He made friends with the spider. But we allow for growth and change and create space for something new when we can get past all those patterns. So if you're feeling stuck and feel like you're just going through the motions of life, I want you to ask yourself, what barriers am I ready to break through? And what patterns am I ready to defy? Okay. So welcome to MindFit Mornings. See, I do need that coffee. I'm Pamela Hartnell. And if this is the first time you're joining me, I am giving you tools so that you can live your life by design rather than exist by default. And today we are talking about overcoming barriers and defying patterns. So breaking through those psychological barriers then means moving beyond self-imposed limitations. And thank you, Santosh. Okay, fine, you can have my coffee. Just only half. I guess that would stop me going, but that's okay. We're all human and we're allowed to make mistakes. And it's fun anyway. I don't mind making mistakes anymore. I used to hate it. Okay, so breaking through psychological barriers, that means moving beyond self-imposed limitations. And one of those could be the fact that I think I've got to be perfect. And it also means recognizing that we're much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And it means embracing all this challenge and change instead of resisting it. As with defying patterns, when we break through those barriers, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. So what are barriers then? Barriers are anything that gets in the way of you achieving your goals. And they can be internal, like lack of confidence, or external, like a difficult work situation. And some common barriers might include things like lack of confidence, fear of failure, work challenges, or difficult home life. And they're the kind of barriers that they're not impossible to overcome, but they can make it really tough to achieve anything. So if you're facing a barrier, remember, you're not alone. There's probably millions of people in the world that have faced similar obstacles and barriers to the ones that you're facing, and have still come out the other side okay. They've worked a way to get around it. And so the first step to doing that and overcoming that barrier is acknowledging that it exists. Now, you've got to look at your behavior, look at why you do what you do and how you do what you do, and then understand that rather than judge it. Understand yourself rather than judge it. And you can develop a plan for overcoming it. And I've created a 5-step process for breaking out of those patterns, so you can find the courage to try something new, like me with my spider, and see where it takes you. And you might be surprised at what you achieve. But I'm going to give you that process at the end, because for right now, I want to do something different. I've got 5 questions, if I'm looking at the time, and if I get the chance, I want to ask you all 5. And I'm going to ask the question, and then I'm going to answer it with what I think. And then I would love for you to tell me in the chat what you think, and share your thoughts to what this question is. It's nothing crazy. All right. So the first question I want to ask is, what does it mean to you to defy a pattern? So I'll tell you what I think. I think emotional patterns are the ways in which we typically respond to a process, and our emotions are often deeply ingrained and can be difficult to change. So defying an emotional pattern to me means choosing to respond to those emotions in a different way than we usually do. And I get that, and I know that can be a challenge, but it can also lead to greater emotional awareness and growth. So choosing to respond in a different way. So what does it mean to you to defy a pattern? And I'll give you a couple of seconds to respond. Let me see. And if you don't have an answer, it's okay. You can send that to me afterwards. So I want to hear what other people have to say. When you listen to yourself, you already know all that knowledge. So it's really good to hear what other people say. Sebastian, thank you for sharing from Facebook. To me, it means getting out of the jail of my own anxiety and overthinking and over caring about things and people I should not. Yeah, that's really good. I like that. Getting out of jail. It is a jail. We do put ourselves in a jail, don't we? And Sebastian also says, I'm working super hard to defy some patterns. It will piss off half the world. We're not here to please everybody. And Mark Sullivan, breaking habits. And you could expand on that one, Mark Sullivan, from YouTube. Breaking habits. Yes. Defying patterns means breaking things down, doesn't it? Awesome. All right, cool. So then the second question I want to ask you is, how can you overcome an obstacle that seems surmountable? This is a question I had actually from one of my clients. And the best way that I've found is to take a step back, assess the situation or reassess the situation, and to look at that obstacle from a completely different perspective and see if there's another way around it. And if there doesn't seem to be another way around it, then I get creative, put on my problem solving hat, and I think about all the resources I have at my disposal, and I brainstorm like all the possible solutions that I can have. And then I start putting them into action and see what works. And if I'm stuck, I might ask for help from people around me. But I only actually ask for help from people whose opinion I respect. And so it's not many of those around me. But I always work too with the mindset that with a little perseverance, you can overcome everything. So let me ask you then, your turn. What do you think is the best way to overcome an obstacle that seems insurmountable? And again, it's okay if you don't know the answer to that. That's why I'm asking these questions, because I want you to think about these things, because when these things then happen, you've already thought about it and it's not a surprise to you. So you're more likely to deal with it completely differently. So how do you overcome a daunting obstacle? You changed my words. I like insurmountable. Right, August, talk to you after. So any comments from that? That's okay if not. Hi, Chick Mother says, can't you hear me, darling? SOS. I nearly started singing then. Shame is a big obstacle for me. Wow. Okay, that is a big obstacle. And do you know what? That plays more of a part in people's triggers and people's challenges that they have than they realize. People don't even think about shame, but it's there. Very cool. So how can you overcome it? Shame is a huge one for most people. It's how we're raised mostly. You know, there's probably a lot of truth in that, Parker, even if it's not intentional, for sure. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, then. So my third question is, when do you know it's time to break the mold and forge your own path? And there's no single answer to this question. It depends really on your personal circumstances and what you're hoping to achieve. But as a guideline, I believe if you're feeling stifled by conformity and yearn for that creativity and self-expression instead, or you feel stagnant, or that you're no longer learning or growing in your current situation. I know I was getting squashed in that area for a long time. And maybe you're being called to start something new, or you just feel that it's something that's says it's time to do something different. To me, it says it's time to take that leap. It's time to step outside your comfort zone and pursue the dreams of going, instead of going through the motions day after day. Because at the end of the day, if you have ideas and visions that you want to pursue, but you're limited by your current circumstances, you have a choice. And really, you're the only one that can decide whether it's time to break away and pack up from that and forge your own path instead. So, and as Parker just says, I think our inner voice tells us we feel enough is enough. So yes, trust that inner voice, that intuition, to go after what you desire. As with everything, you may be surprised at what you're capable of achieving. And so what do you feel are the indicators that tell us it's time to take a break and forge your own path, or break the mold? And Sebastian says, I listen to my body. My body says, stop, change. Body tells you a lot. It really does, if you pay attention. So often we actually dismiss that, don't we? As how many times have you actually ignored that inner prompting and then went, I knew that, I had an inkling to do that, or I had a gut feeling to do that, and I ignored it. Apparently we have a brain in our guts, you know. And my partner would actually say that's why he's got a big gut. I make myself laugh sometimes. Cool. Okay. So what do you think are the indicators that would tell you it's time to break the mold? Sebastian says, oh yeah, social constructs tell us to ignore because being in pain is weakness and bullshit. That's a big topic, Sebastian. Mark Salomon says, when people want you to stay where you don't want to be, both physically and mentally. Yes, I like that. That's really good, because you do that because you want to people please and you don't want to hurt anybody. Isn't it funny? We don't want to hurt anybody, but we'd rather hurt ourselves than hurt someone else. Go figure. All right, cool. So my fourth question then, what are some of the biggest barriers you've faced in life, and how did you overcome them? I have 3 that I want to quickly share. And one of the biggest barriers I've faced in life is self-doubt. And when I was younger, I was always second-guessing myself and my abilities, and because I could do things that I shouldn't be able to do at my age, apparently. And so I was made to doubt that. I was called a big head and all sorts of stuff. And it wasn't until I did the deep emotional work to believe in myself that I was able to overcome that barrier, because I realized that they were wrong and that I was capable of so much more than I was thinking, and that they were telling me I could, and that I could achieve anything I put my mind to. No, Sebastian, I want to hurt everyone, may I? No. My second biggest barrier I faced was fear of failure. I used to be afraid to take risks or try new things because I was afraid of failing and what people would think of me, and that I had to keep this persona up of being perfect. And you know, wasn't so long ago that I wouldn't have done these lives and messed up and without feeling completely stupid. And go back to bed, Sebastian says, I do. That's funny. So go back to bed. I can go back to bed actually. So, but then fear of failure, I learned that failure was a necessary part of success, and the only way to actually achieve my goals was to take those risks and embrace failure as a learning opportunity. And when I learned that, it was actually, it set me free, because it's like, I can fail, and it's not how many times you fail, it's how many times you get up after you fail. There's a beautiful quote somewhere that says that. So my last one that I want to share with you is that I used to struggle a lot with imposter syndrome. You know, when you feel like you're not good enough or qualified, even though you may have plenty of evidence to show you differently. So share with me then some of your biggest barriers, or the biggest barrier you've faced in life, and how you overcame it. And again, it's okay if you don't have an immediate answer here. I just want to get you thinking about your life and how you're living it, rather than just going through the motions every day, because we do that. We get on autopilot and we just go day in, day out, doing the same thing over and over and over, drinking out of the same cup, taking the same way, and go and drive the same way to work and having the same conversations with the same people doing the same thing, and we don't grow that way. So I hope that all my trainings give you something to think about and challenge where you're at. So Sebastian says it's a work in progress, but I say no more often, and I don't work when it's not work time. Yeah, and that's a big barrier, isn't it? Because you want to please everybody, you want everybody to be happy and to like you. And High Tech Mother says too many to list here. I can go on for days. High Tech Mother, I love you. You make me laugh. I think I should wake you up at 2 o'clock every morning so I could just have a giggle. Okay, cool. So, all right, let me know afterwards and share with me in the chat, in the group, wherever you want, if you come up with your barrier and how you overcame it, because I would love to see how other people do things too. So the last thing that I want to share then is why do you think it's important to challenge yourself and explore new possibilities? For me, it means opening myself up to new experiences and new ways of thinking, which will help us grow as a person. And you get to learn more about who you are and what you're capable of. And it can be fun with new interests and passions. I've just started learning to play golf. I'll keep you informed on that. I love it, actually. I used to think it was the most boring sport on the planet, but now I've played it and I went, oh, I did it for charity, raising money for mental health, and it was fantastic. Parker says, for me, my barrier was Tourette's, and I taught myself to be direct about it. Yeah, fantastic, Parker. You know what? Everybody has a challenge, and sometimes they're physical, sometimes they're emotional, sometimes they're mental, and you think about those, and it's like you can either let that challenge define you as less than nothing and live a life really ordinary, or not even, or just like nothing and be a victim, or you can just go, this is not going to define me, and find a way to get through that. So I love that. And I know what you're achieving, Parker, so I'm super impressed and honored to know you. So pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, then you learn to cope with new situations and you become more resilient and resourceful. And Parker, you would agree with that. You ultimately challenging yourself and exploring new possibilities leads to a more richer life. So if you want to share how you challenge yourself and explore new possibilities, I'd love to hear that. Other than that, I will give you now then my 5-step process for breaking out those patterns. And I'm mindful of the time, so I'm just going to give you very quickly. The first one, obviously, is to acknowledge that barrier. That's the first step to overcoming anything. The second step is to develop a plan and then work that plan and be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. The third step is to stay focused on your goal. It can be easy to get discouraged when you're faced with a barrier, which is why we've just talked about how to get around them and why and your why is important. Then I've done lots of training on the why. The fourth step is to be persistent and committed. And the fifth one is to seek out support. Don't do it on your own. Like, talk to a friend or a family member, join a group and get some help. And if you want someone who's been there and done that, I'd love to support you. So that's it for me today. As a reminder, breaking through psychological barriers means moving beyond self-imposed limitations. It means recognizing that we're more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And it means embracing challenge and change instead of resisting it. And I just saw that note. Sorry, team. I only just saw that note. So breaking through psychological barriers means moving beyond self-imposed limitations. Yeah. And that we are way more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And we need challenge and we need adversity, guys, to make us dig deep. We don't go there otherwise. We stay inside our comfort zone and we do not grow. Okay. And when you're only listening to yourself, you already know all that information, so you're not learning anything. All right. You need to listen to other people, learn other people, and have experiences in order to grow as a person. All right. And that leaves me to say to you to remember to constantly work on that, work on changing your mindset and getting MindFit so you can go after what you want in life. And I'm loving Wednesday's topic. Wednesday's topic is, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. Woo! Come and join me on Wednesday. As always, thank you for being here. Be sure to join my online community and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And please share that with others. And the more we share this information and get other people thinking about how they're living their lives and what they're doing, the more we can lift everybody's consciousness. And people can be happier that way and live better lives. So my greatest wish for you is for you to be MindFit so you can live your best life. Live it with passion. Reset, be authentic, and be you. And I'll see you Wednesday. Bye for now. And bye for now on New as well, Instagram.